Hey, cunts, don't forget to click the subscribe button.
News right now are they're accusing Dr. Fauci, who's the head immunologist of America, of being lying. And what did I tell you? The first rule of crisis management: lie. And now he says the worst is yet to come. There is going to be little or no herd immunity anytime soon. And what was the third thing he said? Anyway, yet meatheads like you, just like you, minus intellects, Pollyannas, they're going to write him out on a rail with punji sticks in his fucking eyes. Yet Dan Peña said in March, and yet, I got a bunch of more emails, but I didn't bring them in to read you, but it's like overkill. You can only beat a rented mule so much before it falls on the ground, you know. They have commercials here on TV about adopt a mule, and adopt a lion, and adopt a fucking elephant, and adopt a rhinoceros that got his fucking tusk. I didn't know they lived after the tusk got cut off on a rhino. And you must not be the leader of the pack when you get your tusk cut off in a rhino pack. You must fall to the bottom of the pack. But people just can't take the truth. And guys, you're no different. You're no different. It's just, you know, there's degrees of meatheadness. That's not a word, but there's degrees of meatheadness. And most of the people, the random public, are at the bottom rung of the meathead ladder. I still, at 75 years old, I just can't believe the shit that I read and the stupidity of the people that. It's just like I told you, you know, I looked at your Facebooks and you should just all close them down. And I asked you, I think the first day, why do you put shit like this on Facebook? Some of you are guilty of it in this room. Why? Does anybody want to tell me why? Okay, self-sabotaging activity, and you want to be liked by the other. Do you know how incredibly asinine that is? How incredibly asinine. It's beyond befuddling to me. It's beyond exasperating to me. And it's getting worse, which means it's easier for us during this era. If you pull the trigger, I should have a sign here. I took, was it physics that I failed, or might have been chemistry? I forget which. There was an answer, and he had a flip chart here. And whenever it was answered, he'd point at it. And the class would go, like self-sabotaging activity. And I can't remember what it is. I got an F. But but I had a lot of Fs. The one thing I do remember, we did an experiment in chemistry. Does exercise promote urine? More P. And there was a good-looking girl, and I volunteered with her to exercise. Now, I was hoping it was the other kind of exercise, but it wasn't. And so when we got back to the lab, and you do, exercise promotes P. And it's whether you drink water or not, the body produces like 2 ounces of urine, as they say in this country, whether you drink any water or not. It's a byproduct of a bunch of other stuff, which I didn't understand then, and I'm sure shit don't care about it now. But I just go Corona or self-sabotaging because it's good for us. Although I get not hate mail, it'd be an exaggeration, but I get a fair amount of people, you know, having unkind things to say about me, that I'm coaching or teaching people how to take advantage of the Pollyannas during this period of Corona. And really, we're not taking advantage of that. We're taking advantage of the economics, and that are promoted by fear. Because most of the economics that they have in their heads, for those of you that have talked to the people during Corona and followed the scripts, you know that they're afraid. And now, as I said at the beginning of the week, they're pulling their heads out of the sand, where their management style was ostriches in the sand, head in the sand. And now they're pulling it out, and they're seeing that things aren't any better, and in many cases they're even worse. And so they're accelerating their thought process. And a lot of the kids, maybe some of you included, are getting callbacks from cold calls or calls that you made 3, 6, 7 months ago, and now they're interested because the realization that this isn't going to go away anytime soon is upon them. And then this thing about Fauci telling, the worst is we haven't even seen the shit yet. And he's even still downplaying it. In 1918, 1919, there were approximately 1.5 billion people on the planet. 500 million got infected. 500 million. A third of the planet. Now, where are we now? Not even close, right? Now, hopefully because of modern medicine, etc., it won't be that bad. But there was some form of the 1918, and in those days they called it Spanish flu or influenza or whatever. It was around 3 or 4 or 5 years. 3 or 4 or 5 years. And many of the guys that went to war, we joined the war late, America did, in World War I. It's not sure what they died from, whether they died from the Spanish flu during wartime, because during wartime they don't do autopsies and that kind of thing. And but it's good for us. I mean, I'm licking my chops, as you should be. But again, I should have a sign there, if you pull the fucking trigger. Because if you don't pull the fucking trigger, then it was nice having you here, and having to turn up the heat cut into my margin. But other than that, fuck you. Strong letter to follow. But it's so apparent that people still, they think that 2021, how did some newscaster say, something on it was Al Jazeera, the Arabic station, and he was talking to somebody, and the newscaster says, well, we're glad to see 2020 behind us. Well, in 6 days or whenever it is, or 3 days, it's not going to change. Nothing's going to change. And I heard from a reputable source that after the first of the year, the UK may go on total lockdown. 100% total. Through March. Now, wouldn't that be a kick in the ass? Wouldn't that be a motherfucker? I don't know whether, I'm so happy, I don't know whether to shit or go blind. So we've gone from a full Christmas up here to 1 day Christmas, and they're sorry they gave us 1 day, till everything's going to get better in the new year, till maybe they're going to total lockdown. Just think of how many businesses are going to go down now. I'm going to have to, I'm actually going to think about it before. How do I revise my numbers from 20 to 40% of the zombie companies not coming back? Do I say 40 to 70%? Now let's just focus for a second on 50%. Don't come back. Some of those are you. So you'll be in a hurry to go back and turn the key now. And you'll be hurried to get your business sold now. But if it's 50%, that means not 1 in every 2 people are going to be affected, because every business has 4 employees, 2 employees, 8 employees, 12 employees, or 200 employees. Every family's got 2.4 people, 1.6 dogs, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I haven't heard anybody crying about global warming lately. Huh? Yeah, I mean, and so, because the new is our war against Corona. Our war against Corona. Last night, you saw my Gestapo guy, but before we get there, some in this room and most of the people on YouTube, and many of the QLA mentees aren't quite ready, and they had to do more spreadsheeting, or they do this, or they do that. But that my experience for 50 years in business and 75 years being on the planet is that waiting for the rest of their lives. You have parents, you have guys and gals that you know that it's just not quite perfect, and so they're restudying and what I call vis-a-vis, we were talking about Lotus last night, Lotus 1 through 3, and now spreadsheeting, and they'll spreadsheet it forever. And you've heard me say a gazillion times that unless it's garbage in, garbage out, if you don't change the information, you can hit the send button a jillion times, it's going to be the same answer. The same answer. In our particular case, the same answer is motivated seller, motivated seller, motivated seller. And if you don't have a motivated seller, you've got nothing. And if Corona really does go into producing more lockdowns, they're going to be more out of business. Right now, they say closed because of Corona. The signs now are going to say out of business. And some of them are going to say sorry, out of business. I don't know what they're sorry about, but anyway. And it's going to get worse and worse. And I'm not a doomsdayer. I said a couple of days ago, let's go get canned goods and dig a hole in the ground and get a bunker. That's not me. And eventually, we can't, I told you, we can't buy businesses unseen, although some of the kids are. I'm going to be masked up and gassed up like a spacesuit going out and look at the businesses. Because I will not buy a business that I don't see, where I'm boots on the ground. There's a plethora of things that can be wrong, and unless you're there, you have no idea. But you're never quite ready. You're never quite ready. The Bobbies are arresting the guys at the Last Supper because it's an illegal, meeting. And we're about there now. We're about there. And I mean, it's on the face of it, people are dying and people are getting sick. And I know a couple of people that have gotten it, Corona, and it's the worst thing that they ever had. And it really does have devastating effects. But most of the people the worst thing that ever happened to them are older. I know one guy in his mid-30s that almost died from it, a mentee, a Brit, that he said that, after 2 weeks, he wanted to die. That's how bad he felt. Now, they can do a lot of shit to me, but that's never going to happen to me, that I want to die. I'd want to stay alive just to piss him off. But this kid, he's a nice enough English, proper, wouldn't say shit in his mouth, which is obviously not me. And even for some of the guys in here, the pretend tough guys, I call you pretenders. But so far, the sweetest people that I know are the people, you could also say the weakest people that I know are the people that are suffering the most. None of, I'm going to be sarcastic. None of the six-pack, 5% body fat guys are getting it. I don't know that for a fact, I'm just making it up. But because I don't know closely any 6% body fat, six-pack guys myself. Only by accident through guys that come to the seminar that might have a six-pack. Okay. But, it's the survival of the fittest. And even though this is, the 40,000 years ago when survival of the fittest really meant survival of the fittest, this is survival of the fittest vis-a-vis QLA. It is. The tough guys are going to be the last men standing, yes. By the way, Winston didn't pee or poo in his, for the 10th day in a row, did not pee or poo in his cage at night. And so, Sally, you'd think that we won the motherfucking lottery. I mean, he's dancing around. And so I don't know if it's, well, not tonight, graduation night, but maybe tomorrow night, we're going to not put him in his cage. He's going to have just the basket without the cage. And him and his big sister Lola will. Although they both, he wants to tear down the Christmas tree in my office. So we'll have to pin that up. Okay, Winston, what do you want?
So,
one more thing. It is now coronas on all 7 continents. In Antarctica, South Pole, where Sally and I was at that scientific center, 26 out of 36 have it. 26 out of 36. Fuck. That means it's been there a while. And so it doesn't surprise me because there are different guys now, it's 10 years later, but those fucking scientists, fuck. They're not going to social distance. And when we were down there, and unfortunately we didn't take a lot of pictures other than of ourselves, they running around 40 below zero in Bermuda shorts, boxer shorts, flip-flops on their feet, and some of them hadn't had a haircut in 3-4 years. They look like Einstein, and they're a little goofy. They're all a little goofy. And some have been down there so long they've inbred. They've married each other supposedly, and they're all like this. Okay, now Winston. Speaking of that, here's Winston.
So New Zealand has said I can't go home till March 15th. Do you recommend?
Is that because they know you? Huh? Do they know you bit that guy's nose off? Is that why you can't go home, or is it just you can't go home?
It's our whole system. It's easier to travel out than to get back home.
Uh-huh.
Do you suggest I try and set up remotely, or perhaps?
Is it going to be healthcare? You're not sure?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it would be dependent on which of the avenues you go down. One of the reasons healthcare is even hotter than it was is because Corona. All of a sudden, people are health conscious. Nobody gave a fuck before, But I mean, you could set up remotely. Now, didn't we discuss that you thought doing it in Australia?
That was the plan, but I thought I had a plan to Australia that's changed. Australia locked down, America's locked down, and
okay, well,
I'm going to be here.
Australia is probably, especially with the accent you have, although it's not like an Aussie accent, I understand that, but it's kind of like that, I would probably pick Australia, and I would pick healthcare. And notwithstanding, we have several guys being successful there. But I mean, I won't say it's wide open, but it's wide open. Because even if we have 100 guys in Australia, which we don't, I know of maybe 10, they don't see each other. They don't bump into each other. A couple of them would like to bump into the girl that's down there, but and you'd be surprised. I mean, once in a while somebody tries to not poach because they don't know that the chairman that you want is also the chairman of this other company. But that's about the most that we see. And it's normally at the chairman and CEO level that they cross paths because there's so many industry experts. There's so many fucking accountants. There's so many fucking lawyers. But the guys and the gals that are CEO and chairman, potential chairmen and CEOs are fewer, and so the kids, once in a while, bump into each other. But I mean, if the other guy is chairman of 3 months ago, it's doubtful that he's going to leave. Now, something one of the mentees said on YouTube, and I didn't cut it out like I should have. He says you can't be chairman more than one company. What he meant to say is you can't be more than one assisted living. We have guys. We've got one guy who's the chairman, 3 different deals, QLA. One's assisted living, one's conglomerate, and the other one is pharmaceuticals. And he has, in his 35, 38-year career, he has experience in all 3 of those areas. And towards the end of his career, he was the chairman of a big private equity fund. And as I've warned during the seminar, you have to be careful when you bring ex-private equity guys that they're truly ex-former, because almost all of them still have some sort of ties to it, and it's normally through ownership in companies, and it may be their pension plan. But I would say Healthcare Australia.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking maybe I should just pivot and try and set up here, United Kingdom.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, the United Kingdom, well, you're already here. I mean, and they accept almost anybody, as witnessed by the people that are doing bombs and shit, that it always amazes me, and I go back to my background being around my dad. He's been under investigation 19 months. MI6 is aware of him. MI5 is aware of him. The police is aware of him. But he set the bomb. Because under current law, you have to actually be caught doing something now. Just because you say you're going to do it, etc. Although that you may get a warning. This last guy that was involved with a bomb in the UK had been into the police and been interviewed 7 times. And even though he talked radical shit to the cops, he didn't, ostensibly, he didn't do any radical shit. And that, see, in the old days, they would have taken care of that person. And so, human rights is a big deal, and I'm not a proponent. I'm a proponent of the human rights when they're kidnapping kids in Ethiopia and shit like that. I'm a proponent of stopping that. But some of the other human rights, I don't consider inalienable, as they said in the U.S. Constitution. You have to earn your human rights. And of course, my opinion is not very popular, I might add. But UK, and healthcare again. I don't think Boris is going to sell off National Health Service like they've been threatening for 20, 25 years. But if they privatize National Health Service in the UK, every QLA bot that I ever produced in 28 years can come here and get rich. Every single fucking one. There are so many assets, mismanaged, misrun. It's beyond your comprehension. Everybody can come here because they have tens and tens and tens and tens of billions of opportunities here. And every other Tory administration threatens to go back to the privatization that Mrs. Thatcher started. And it's just, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. When I first started coaching 27 and a half years ago, I thought it might happen. Oh, fuck, we're just going to make hay here. But it never happened. But even without that, there's still tons and tons of opportunities. That's a long-winded answer, Winston. Any other questions? Okay, YouTube. Goodbye.